What is going on? What?
Didn't you send me? Didn't you say you sent your weekly press release or whatever?
Cigar Pop? Oh yeah. We got it all fixed. We'll I'll get into that. Let me just make sure here. As soon as okay, so we can go live here on Instagram as well. What's going on, everybody? It is the Puff and Ponder podcast where conversations ignite. I got we're not, it's not where conversations ignite anymore. I got the N put back in there. And yeah, some people might be seeing this on the Cigar Prop YouTube channel. So you might be wondering, where have you guys been? Well, like I said, if you're watching that and wondering that, we moved the I Tap That Cigar show over to all the other. Actually, we're still on all the other platforms. We're just not on YouTube anymore. They just are picky about my tickers, about the ads, just YouTube being YouTube. But since today is Labor Day, no guest wanted this Monday night show. So we thought it would be an opportunity to broadcast our second episode of the Puff and Ponder podcast. Something Carol and I will be doing a lot more. What's that?
You say that 3 times?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So yeah, welcome everybody. And then if you're watching this on Instagram only allows us to go live for an hour. So you're going to have to hop over to the Cigar Prop or Puff and Ponder YouTube channel. But Kerr, before we get started, I got to present my screen here once again. And I got to pick a winner for an Instagram contest.
You haven't stopped talking since we got on.
I know.
Holy fuck.
It's been all right. So Stogie Man 2022. So
congratulations.
All right. I can take a breath. Well, normally you're on earlier, like you log on and we get all the chit chat out of the way.
Don't blame me. Don't blame me because I got in under that. Am I here? I know I'm usually about a good 15 to 30 minutes early where we could chat and talk about, some things and kind of work out all the kinks and stuff. So I do apologize about for being tardy.
No
prior to the show.
And Cigar Lecter, X is where it's at. 100%, brother. X and Rumble. Actually, the majority, Kerr and I have noticed the majority of our viewers have been on X. The last couple of months. It's been a good platform for us. But you know what? But you know what?
I can't. You were taking a breath there, dude.
I still can't advertise or promote any cigar related content on X. They're still banning tobacco and they're still lumping cigars in with tobacco.
Really?
Yeah, I tried to promote like a post for an advertiser that we had over there to get more traction on that post. And they wouldn't let me, and because it's tobacco. So I tried to reach out to Elon, like in a tweet, but this time of year, he's right
now, Kev. He's trying to figure out whether or not he's got like 400 billion or million people in Brazil that are not going to get X because he refuses to stand down from a judge that was given a lot of leeway on what could be what's permissible and what's not permissible, and he gave Elon Musk a list of conservative folks and said you must block these people and ban these people from X. And he said, "No, I don't think so."
Yeah, I mean, when all that started happening, it blew my mind that a single judge, like not a panel, not their version of our Supreme Court, but like a judge, man.
They gave him a lot of, and again, I was actually having this conversation with my son today. I saw flashes of it. I said, well, I don't know anything about it. Just let me read, and then I can formulate an opinion based off of an article, but without really going in deep in detail. And what I just presented was basically the objective facts that, he is a judge. He was given a lot of leeway on the upcoming elections and such, and he has been getting a lot of heat from their conservatives, saying that he's trying to ban conservatives. A lot of people in Congress, a lot of people who are running, and the reasons why they want to ban them is in sealed documents. So there's some scuttlebutt on the reasons why it's being done. My son was telling me, not Joseph Wyatt, was telling me that, it was because of racist tweets and such. I'm like, well, what did they say that was racist? I don't know. I think I assume it was racist. I'm like, okay, let's try and remove assume. And I think, and it's got to be from the conversation, and let's just see what the facts are. And I read 2 articles, and I really couldn't find anything of substance. I mean, you'll read it, and their conservative side will give you their opinion and their side. Their liberal side will give you their opinion and their side, and somewhere in between, Musk was like, "Yeah, it's called freedom of speech." It kind of comes with the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, I watched just a clip. So, I don't know how far out of context it was taken, but I think this is just from a couple of days ago when Kamala Harris was talking about what was going on, and then she had made the comment that, if paraphrasing, that if you have a social media platform and the government tells you what to do, you need to obey that, and then basically block who they want you to block and all that. Right. And I'm like, well, that sounds like them on that side for sure. Especially after Zuckerberg just came out last week with that, apologizing for the whole COVID thing. And he's like, we shouldn't have done it. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe he's coming out and admitting, the whole Russiagate with the laptop, the whole COVID disinformation, that was just, that kind of blew me away that he admitted that so close to the election.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Earlier. I mean, listen, but before we get started, I do want to ask what you're smoking, Kevin.
I am enjoying a Fume d'Amour from Illusione tonight. What do you?
I got the Dark Side. I think it's called the Dark Side from Ezra Zion.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
Yeah. So, this is a nice cigar. It's my last one. I figured let's smoke it and have some fun. There was a lot of misinformation, a lot of stuff being thrown out there. Even when Elon Musk took over Twitter, there was a lot that was, that they found out behind the scenes that the government was getting involved and what could go out, what couldn't go out, et cetera, et cetera. And you read all that stuff, and I'm like, I'm not surprised. I mean, I don't care who's in office. I'm not surprised. The government is doing this kind of stuff. In the least bit. I mean, it just doesn't. It doesn't. However, I still think that there are. I think when people try and point the finger at one side, there's like 3 pointing right back at them. So,
and that's on either side you're on,
it's the flavor of the month right now. Right now, there's Democrats in office, and now the Republicans and conservatives are pointing fingers. And then when the Republicans are in office, it's the other way around, and they're going to dig up. We saw it with, no weapons of mass destruction. It was a big fat lie. Yada yada yada. Halliburton, contracting, whatever is going on in Iraq. I mean, hell, I even saw that they found the tomb of who's the is it not? I'm gonna fuck the name up because I automatically think of the Smurfs, not Gargamel. Is it Gargamel? Who is the it's not Gargamel. Gargamel's the guy who's chasing around the Smurfs. But it was I read today. I saw today that they one of the reasons why they said they went to war is because they found this person's tomb, and it was like 2 days later. They invaded Iraq, and the U.S. soldiers seized that area. So it's kind of funny. So,
then you heard the stories of them pulling out all the gold bars and everything else, and but whatever. What's going on, Derek?
He was one of the giants, is what he was. I can't think of his name right now. Gilgamesh.
Gilgamesh?
Yeah,
I'm not familiar. Or no, Gilgamesh. That's who.
Sorry, I said Gilgamesh, not Gilgamesh. Mishmash.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. You had Gargamel in my mind, and now I'm thinking of Gilgamesh.
I told you Gargamel was wrong, though. I told you way wrong. I think Jeff's gonna be like, really, Kev? Gargamesh.
Yeah. Oh my God. So yeah, but I don't know. It's just and you talk about, or people say, X is it's full of hate, full of, racist and comments and posts. And Elon did that interview. I don't know, maybe it's probably a year or so ago now. And it was one younger reporter was asked him about that. And Elon goes, well, can you give me examples? It's like, well, like my news feed is just filled with this hatred. He's like, yeah, just give me just one example. Well, I really don't have, and it was just like, because I'm on X, not a lot, but I do stroll for a little bit, and I don't see any of that. I don't know. Maybe it's just not being shown to me. Maybe it's not there. Maybe people, it couldn't be the fact that someone takes something someone says and wrongly and calls it hate, but that's probably not it. But well, what are you enjoying tonight, Sarah? What cigar are you going to enjoy?
Who, me?
Yeah.
You said Sarah. I'm Kerr.
I said Kerr.
I already showed you my cigar.
Did you? Oh, you did. It was the Dark Side by Ezra Zion. Kerr. I am
really not. I mean, now I see what Jessica's talking about.
Now you see why Jessica gets so frustrated with me because I don't listen. But
you're so focused on talking and you just ignored me. Kev, we got to go to counseling.
Yes.
He doesn't listen to anything I say.
It was funny the other day at work. Jessica calls me up. Hey, I need your password for this. I installed a program at my video editing software on her computer, and if I'm on it, it logs her out, and she's got to log back in. She's like, I need to edit this video, and I've tried like 6 times, and you got to figure out your password. I go, my password hasn't changed, and I said, calm down. I'm on the phone with you. Put the password in letter by letter. She puts it in. She goes, same thing I've done 7 times now. And she's like, oh, there I am. I'm in.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say the other 7 times there was something wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
That's funny. Now I'm smoking the Ezra Zion. See, I got it was a good conversation with my son. Again,
it's good you guys can have that conversations. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's 16, he's young, impressionable, and at that age, very opinionated. And I try and even with him, with anybody, I mean, I'm a very objective person, and I kind of just will always try to stay to the facts and being objective on things. I will give you my opinion. I will tell you if it's my opinion, but 9 times out of 10, if there's a discussion about something, I'm going to seek to understand, and I'm going to realistically, be objective about it. Yeah, I don't like making assumptions. I just don't.
Yeah.
It's just too much can go the wrong way. It just can, So that was kind of conversation we had after clogging the toilet,
and then just.
Hey, toilet's broken.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What happened? Did it just break? Oh wait, you were using it, and then it didn't flush, like the one upstairs.
It was like that when I found it.
It was like
It was like that when I found it, and if one of the kids clog up the toilet, I notice I'll go in there to whatever, and then I'll notice it, and I go in and tell Jessica, hey. When they're her kids, hey, one of your kids clogged up the toilet.
What's funny is I was like, listen, dude, I said I've clogged many a toilets in my day. It's okay to say you clogged the toilet. You can't say that the toilet broke. It didn't break. It was. I think of it as a ride or an elevator's got a weight capacity. You exceeded that weight capacity. It happens. And he's like, yeah, no. The plunger sucks. I go, dude, I took the snake in there. I was about 18, 24 inches in deep. You could have had,
you had to snake
50,
it.
I said you could have had 50 plungers of the highest quality.
Yeah.
You would have had 50 wet plungers and a clogged toilet. So I did get it unclogged finally. But I'll tell you, I was sweating it out a little bit because we did have an issue with this toilet last year where the flapper underneath it was, having some issues. And the guys were like, well, this isn't really our thing. You got to call this, you got to do that. And it was like going to look like it was going to be really expensive because it's outside the home.
Yeah.
It becomes a completely different thing then.
Oh, yeah. Whole different crew.
It's like, you need this. You're going to have to get a camera. They're going to. I was like, hold on for a second. I'm not going to get a drone to fly through the septic system around here. So they finally got it fixed, and they were here 15, 20 minutes, and I thought the price was very reasonable, but still very high for the short amount of time they were here.
Yeah,
and I was like, damn it, I should have been a plumber. There should be a greater opportunity and more trade schools, more monies and scholarship funds and everything else to encourage more kids in this generation to pursue a trade school and not this hardy push towards college.
That's it. Now we're gonna deviate for a second because this goes along with kind of our thing. Bones, let me ask you a question about cutters. Is a cutter worth $395? And I will understand if you don't want to answer. Is a 2024 Chevy Suburban fully loaded worth $105,000? Is a cell phone made in China by people making $2 an hour worth $1,500?
The answer is no, Bones.
Is anything worth anything? I can only say it's worth it. Whatever you buy is, if those features that you want in that item are worth it to you, you need to justify how much that item will be to buy it. Is a cutter made 100% here in the USA using the highest quality steel blade, replacement blade that you can buy, worth that much money? I don't know. If one wasn't given to me, and I had to buy it, would I buy it? I don't know. And thankfully I don't have to answer that question because one was given to me. So actually two were given to me.
It's all relative, right? I mean, when I say no, I say, for me, I look at the, are there other cutters out there at a lower price that's going to do the same job? Yes. But to your point, if it's important to you, if it's something you really want, and if it's within your budget, if $395 for a cutter is the same as someone else paying $80 or $35 or $40 per cutter, then hallelujah.
That's it. I mean, for me, it's not uncommon for me to spend $70 or $80 on a hat. Other people, mind-boggling. But for the same thing, I won't spend more than $2 on sunglasses when the next person spends $600 on sunglasses, but they only wear a $5 hat. So
yeah, I think I got $30 is probably my limit on hats. 30,
yeah,
30 the tops. If it's really cool and it's a little bit more, okay, but 20 to $30. Like this hat here I got at St. Augustine, $25 the distillery. I love it. It's the freaking trucker hat. Big fan. But like you, if you like that hat and if it's you want to pay that $70, $80, then have at it.
That's it. So
and you introduced me to the glasses because I'm horrible with glasses. If I bought $100 pair of glasses, I guarantee they'd be broken within a week or lost.
Yeah,
guaranteed, 100%. I had all my blue ones when we went to the lake. We were hanging out, having some beers. After several beers, I decided to jump in the lake with my glasses on, thinking, hey, these are nice and snug. Yeah, not snug enough. They were floating at the bottom of Lake Norris somewhere. That's $1.85. I got like a big box full of them. So you're the one who connected me with these because I like the wraparound. I always like wraparound glasses, and the price is right because I'll lose $100 pair of glasses.
Yeah, and if you wear a hat, they fit snug in between your ear and your hat. So
yeah.
So getting back to plumbers and toilets. I actually was at the grocery store today and I had to buy toilet paper for the first time in 2 years. Because 2 years ago, Jessica, she was just, it was always out of like toilet paper. And it's just like, I don't understand. It's like the first thing on the list all the time. And then at one point I walk in the bathroom, there's a roll of paper towels in there. And I'm like, what? This isn't going to end well. And then it didn't. A couple of days later, when I had to call and spend $350 on a plumber to come out here to get up on the roof and snake through the vent pipe. And then I went out to Walmart and I saw this kid stocking a shelf, had this big pallet thing of toilet paper, and I don't know how many rolls it had on it. And I looked at it, I'm like, I'll take them all. And we wheeled that whole cart up front, filled up my whole thing. And for 2 years, we have been using single ply Scott toilet paper for 2 years. Because
wow.
I mean, that's how much toilet paper I bought. Jessica came out and she instantly knew how pissed off I was. And so I went, so I had to go to the store today and she's like, hey, we're almost out of that toilet paper finally. And I'm like, I'm gonna buy it one time. And I told her, I said, next time I'm buying 5 years worth of single ply paper.
Single ply though. I mean,
I know.
That's
you spin that roller, that roll on the roller, like you're on The Price is Right. You're trying to get that.
You have to.
Yeah. And it's been a miserable 2 years, Kerr, but
we're
finally.
Because if you're not spinning the wheel, then you might as well get a lot of hand sanitizer and soap because you're gonna have a lot of freaking breakthroughs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Single ply is no joke. That's Jennifer will end up. She's got a couple of rolls of toilet paper where it's like, what did you get these at Lowe's next to the sandpaper? Like, holy. The hell's up with this?
So RJ asked new show, Kerr. So at the beginning of the show, for anybody that's come in a little bit late, Kerr and I have started a new podcast called the Puff and Ponder Podcast. It's not going to replace the I Tap That Cigar show for this year. It's just something different that we're trying. You know, if we have a guest on a case, whatever, but mainly it's just going to be me and Kerr talking about whatever we want. And then maybe the start of the new year. We'll do them a little bit more often, but nobody wanted the show tonight because it's Labor Day. So we just decided not to do an I Tap That show and then do a Puff and Ponder. So that's the, so it is something new. But yeah, so, just buy a bidet. And,
you know what? My sister, my brother-in-law, my sister, they bought a bidet. He loves it. I'm like,
does he?
I guarantee you. I said, oh yeah. And he's like, I said, you're probably not calling your buddies, back in Pennsylvania when you worked, laying concrete and macadam. You're not probably going, hey guys, guess what I just got? You can sit there and talk about football and beer. You're not going to tell those boys you bought a bidet. And he's like, no, I love it. It's a one that you can buy, I think at Walmart or something like that. You connect up.
Yeah, my daughter my daughter just put one in, but I don't, so for me, a single roll of toilet paper would probably last a month. Ever since I've added Metamucil to my diet twice a day, I don't need toilet paper. Like it's just, I mean, a whole roll will probably last me a month.
Is it clean white?
Oh yeah. I would feel 99% of the time after a good BM, I would feel comfortable just getting up and not even checking, just getting up and walking away.
No, I hope you do.
I
understand. I understand that kind of passive confidence, but
I
hope you check it, buddy.
You have to, because that'll as Larry the Cable Guy will say that'll itch when it dries. So
yeah, that's definitely that's one of those. You may hear some crumpling going on. Yeah, who does the laundry? Exactly.
I do my own laundry, and then Jessica does her laundry with the kids because I don't like my laundry mixed. Jessica throws everything in one load, doesn't make a difference what it is. My underwear and socks can be washed together, but my underwear and socks cannot be washed with anything else that I wear. So my shorts and then my shirts are separate, and then my work uniforms obviously are separate. So but yeah, I can't have my socks and underwear touch anything. If I accidentally touch my own socks or underwear, like after I get out of the shower, I gotta scrub up again. Like I just can't have it
dirty ones.
Dirty ones. Yeah, I can't have anything touch me. Like I'll put, like, when I'm getting undressed, I put everything into a little ball, and that way when I'm clean, I grab the ball with all the dirties on the inside, then I take them to my laundry basket, my various baskets in a row, and then I kind of dump them out into
wash
the
your
various
hands.
baskets, and then wash my hands. Yes, I definitely wash my hands.
Okay.
So
that's a weird process there. I mean, I do a lot of we share laundry duties here. We kind of do it as we go along, but I go through my phases, because every once in a while, you can ask Jennifer, every once in a while, if I'll pull out a pair of shorts or a t-shirt that, oh, I must have forgotten that. And it's like, now it can fit Joe. I'm like, son of a bitch, another freaking article of clothing that got shrunk. Yes, I know that's the common excuse used by a man who gains weight. However, in this case, gaining weight, it does not mean that the shirt really does go down a couple of sizes.
What do you using? Hot water with shrinking everything?
It's the drying process, not the washing process.
Oh, it's a drying process.
Everyone's like high heat, and
okay.
You have to really either use low heat on that, or like a tumble dryer or whatever. Depends on the article of clothing. You have to be very careful with some things.
Okay, yeah, because we've switched to like all-in-ones we've been using for years now, and the new GE one, it's just hot air, so there's no heating element, no flames, so it's air that goes, and it's dry air that goes through the clothes, so there's no heating element or anything else,
and that stops it from shrinking.
Yeah, it's actually less. Your clothes last longer. They don't shrink. You don't need a vent for the outside. It only plugs into 110, so you don't have 220. So
Jen's lying. Jen just says she uses
gentler.
Medium heat. That is a big fat lie. She only uses medium heat when she remembers to use medium heat. She uses high heat.
Okay.
It's high. Yeah, I have a number of articles of clothing that do not fit.
Yeah. So
wasn't due to medium heat.
But going back to the our plumbing conference, my nephew is a plumber now. He didn't want to go to college, and he wanted to get into a skilled trade. His dad, my best friend Brian, who consider my brother, he's a machinist, tool and die maker by trade. Now owns his own business, but Peyton didn't want to go to school or college. He wanted to be out there in the workforce and learn a trade, because, luckily seeing me as a mechanic for all these years, all of our friends, Brian's got plumbers, electricians, his grandfather, man, I considered my dad, as well, passed away a few years ago, was an electrician. So, he just surrounded by, tradesmen his whole life. And the one thing that he saw is that we all made a shit ton of money, versus all of the other people that were not tradesmen that had I don't want to say bullshit degrees, but bullshit degrees from college that they were still paying off their student loans and not in a trade or a job that they went to college for. I don't think he really wanted to do that. So he took an apprenticeship position, and, going to be a plumber.
Well, listen, there are degrees out there that are good. There are bullshit degrees. Depends on however you want to consider a bullshit degree. I guess just like the cigar cutter, right? someone may want a degree in something, and that's their passion. But I also think that, there are certain degrees, and if you look at the entry level income of some of these degrees, I think a lot of people get sticker shock because they're expected to come out of school and making big money. When they come out, they're like, "Here you go," and you're like, "Whoa, what?
Yeah,
I have a lot of loans. I don't. This isn't enough." And it's like, well, that's your entry level position, Or yes, you did a great job, but you need to get a master's now in this area. And I think there's some folks in the academia that are so far removed from reality. They're really not always up to speed on what to expect when you come out. I mean, I came out of school with student loans. I mean, I financed a great deal of my schooling, and I came out and I had student loans, and I didn't complain about it. I didn't expect anybody to pay it off. I basically I had a political science degree. I wanted to apply to the state police and some of the other state jobs, and the state of Pennsylvania was in a hiring freeze at that time. Guess what? Still got bills to pay.
Yeah, but with that being said, even a poli-sci degree, at least you have a degree. So in certain jobs where they want you to have a degree, but you don't really need a degree to do that job. Like there's no degree that you can even get to do that particular job.
Sometimes there's a preferred degree, right?
Yeah, yeah. So at least even having a degree. We were talking last night, making fun of Terrence Riley with Aganorsa, because we were watching the new
Terrence Riley.
Well, we were watching the new show Chaos, which is amazing, by the way. And we were only in the 3 episodes, so nobody spoilers. But I'm like, I'm gonna see if Terrence has watched the show yet. And Jessica's like, why would Terrence watch it? And I go, because he has like a master's in Greek history. And she goes, what the hell do you do with that degree? I go, you sell cigars.
Yeah, I won't do I won't do it. We binged the shit out of that. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
I won't ruin it for you, but what a fantastic series.
It was it might not cater to some conservatives. I would say conservative Christians might not like some of the characters, but what they do, but
why? What?
Dionysus. It was he's.
I think what's interesting about that show, and the first thing I read about it, is that it does a great job of telling the Greek mythology story in modern times.
Yeah.
And each of those gods, for what they are the god of, is what happens and what goes on.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're starting off already, when the main god is Zeus, who killed his father and married his sister.
Yeah, at the very beginning with Prometheus, as soon as he's, and I'm like, this is gonna be awesome, but yeah, so yes, that's what that's how the whole Terrence Riley came into it. But getting back, like I said,
it's great.
Yeah, people just aren't, you can be a plumber anywhere in the world. You don't have to speak the language. Shit flows downhill. That's essentially what you got to know. And there's a lot more to being a plumber than that, I'm sure. Electricity, the electrical theory is the same everywhere. Even on the International Space Station, if you're an electrician, you still have to know electrical theory. Yeah, wiring is, color coding. They do it.
I was going to say, I have learned that there's different color wires.
yes.
After receiving our ridiculous ceiling.
Yeah.
Jennifer wanted this awesome molecule looking thing, and I was like, brown, blue, and red, or what? It was the completely different color. I had to look it up and find out with the corresponding colors.
I was when I had these ceiling fans installed in the lounge here, and they had like 15 wires. going to my switches because I have high, medium, low on this fancy switch, and I'm like, these wires, these switches, I don't even know what's going on here. I hired an electrician to come out and do the job because I wanted it done right. And then the guy was out here like an hour putting up the ceiling fans because I had them all assembled for them. All he had to do was hang them, wire them, and then button them up. And it was like $300 for like an hour's worth of work. And I didn't bitch. I could have bitched like the guy at my job this week. Oh, that guy. But I'm like, you magnificent bastard. It's like, at least I had air conditioning in here. I'm sure he has harder jobs. He has easier jobs. But making bank, being an electrician, like I said, I've had to hire plumbers. I hire a guy that takes care of my lawn. He's my neighbor across the street. If there's a job you don't want to do or, you can't do, there's a tradesman out there that will do it for you.
Yeah. It's, I grew up, my dad was kind of like that. I swear that generation, my dad could like do anything.
Oh yeah.
He's a mechanic, he was an electrician. It was like, hey, we're going to build a deck out back. Okay. There wasn't Google. There wasn't a DIY book, okay, we're going to go ahead and, lay some brick and enclose the front porch. He did everything. I mean, when I bought my first house in Harrisburg and we gutted the bathroom, he came in and like we positioned and ran wiring, but he connected everything. And then he's like, okay, in order to get to the next level, which is everything, you have to have a certified electrician come in to do XYZ. And he had connections with a certified electrician. But growing up, whatever needed to be done, it was like, he did it, or then it was everybody in the neighborhood. Hey, we got go down and get Big Tony. Get him to come down here and take a look at the electric. See what's wrong.
My buddy Brian, my nephew Peyton's dad. So they grew up in Brian. I think they moved down here when he was like 13 or 14, but they grew up in Indiana. His dad had, up there, he used to tell me stories like, you want a deck put on, like all the guys. There's like one guy that knew how to do decks, and then all the guys would get together and they'd build the deck with the one guy in charge teaching everybody. One guy did like pavers. One guy did electrical. So, all those guys all became not masters, but they all knew how to do everything, and so that's why when Dick moved down here, it's just like, everybody's like, well, how do you know how to do all this? It's just where we come from in Indiana. It's like, you had one guy and he taught everybody else how to do it. And instead of coming out and saying, hey, can you come build this deck for me? Like, hey, can you come over and teach us, and help us with this deck? And then, because that deck guy needed an electrician. The electrician needed a plumber. The plumber needed, so yeah, they all needed something.
And it was crazy. I had my uncle, my mom's brother, he bought a lot of, it was Pennsylvania area called Mount Gretna. He bought like 13, 15 acres and wanted to build a house. So everybody, my dad, my grandpa, everybody out there, they all built the house.
Yeah.
Just build a house. You got your permit? Yep. Okay. It's like,
and now like the permitting process is insane. Which I understand because there's some people doing some shady stuff, but yeah, still,
it's like I hand Joe or Wyatt a box from the store and say, here, put these shelves together. Here's a screwdriver. It's like painful to watch. I'm like, there's instructions and everything's prefabbed, everything's pre-drilled, pre-cut. Yeah. All you gotta do is just figure out A and B. It's like,
and they're generally labeled A and B and C and D.
In fact, my uncle just looked at the piece, probably like, yeah, that flat area there would be a great place to put a house right there.
Yeah. Just start building.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Well, I do think, like my buddy David Simpson, he's up in Palmyra, Pennsylvania, great guy, and when I graduated college and then I moved up in that area, I was actually my brother's old place. I was renting it because he still owned it. He's living elsewhere. We had some. My buddy was he out of school, certified plumber.
Yep.
He'd come over, help me out, boom, boom. The other, my roommate from college, Frank Edwards, his father owned a heating and cooling a company, and they were right outside of Reading, Pennsylvania. So when we were renting this place, if we had, our landlord was terrible. If there was any issues, Frank could come up, hang out, have some beers, and take a look at it and fix it. And it was like, man, it's so good to have connections like that and friends close by that, you could swap out, whatever, like you said, if you have a deck builder, you have a friend who's an electrician, you have a mason, one of my really, really good friends who lived with us a short time in high school, he owns his own company. He does cement. When my dad had issues, he went out and he's like, had his company out there and made sure that every issue was solved. It's really good to have a lot of connections that have that skill set, because to your point, if you want something done, you can find somebody. Now, these folks, like my buddy Troy, he didn't do it for my dad for free, but I guarantee you, anybody else, it would have been a hell of a lot higher.
Yeah, and that's the thing with they're not, and they're not taking trade schools out anymore, but and there are some communities that have lost their trade schools, and we're lucky here where we're at. We've got one of the best trade schools around, but they have shrunk the carpentry, the plumbing, and does more nursing and hairstyling and thing like that. They do have a great automotive program, but it is a 2-year program. And it used to be, back when I got into this industry, you could take short classes. Like when I wanted to learn automotive AC, there was a 6-week class on automotive AC at night, twice a week. So I could work my job, which I did, and then learn automotive AC at night, to have like that one thing. They had welding, I wanted to learn how to weld. So they had a welding class. I took a 6-week class and did another 6-week class. And then I stayed on for the next 2 years as an assistant welding instructor, because I loved it. I loved teaching, but, especially the kids that just wanted, it gave me hope. Like, there's so many kids that wanted to learn welding. And I'm like, this is awesome. That these kids want to learn, and we had a mix of older people as well, and women, and, some guys in the industry that just wanted to, learn a new type of welding, versus what they were currently doing. But yeah. But they don't offer that anymore. It's, a lot of these trades are going away, and we see these kids that come out of these 2-year mechanic classes, or they got their whatever degree, their certificate. You really don't get a degree in anything, and then they get hired on, and then it's like, yeah, you're going to be doing oil and tires for probably a year. Well, I have this certificate. I can work on cars. Yeah, no, that's my job. It's me. We have a small shop within Tires Plus, and it's like, yeah, we have 2 lead techs. We don't need any mechanics. Just you learn, and then either you take one of our spots or you move to another facility. And some people get pissed, and after 6 months, and they quit, and then they just go somewhere else. But some of the kids, like in my 25 years of doing this, I've only had one kid that's ever graduated to a senior lead tech, and that's kid Brandon, but same thing. He wanted to come in and start, but he understood his role in the shop. When he wasn't doing his job, he would be looking over my shoulder, looking over Eric's shoulder. Hey, what are you doing there? Well, I didn't learn that in class. And then for 2 years, just kept doing that, learning and learning and learning. And then he was ready to graduate, and we had to send him to another store. We hated to lose him, but we wanted to keep him within the company. So now he's a lead tech at another store doing great work, but he's one of the kids that toughed it out.
Well, it takes time. I'm sure with anything else, it takes time. It's just not something, especially like you said, in that environment. And when you already have 2 lead techs, you know, if you're being brought on and you're going to be doing tires and oil changes, et cetera, do it. You know, view it as an apprenticeship because you're going to be learning a great deal as you're going through this process. You know, but like I said, it sounds like they have that same mentality that some people coming out of college have. It's like, hey, I have this certificate or I have this degree. You got to hire me and I got to make $100,000. It's like, well, okay, pump the brakes a little bit. Here's the deal. You know, here's your degree. Here's where you are. And here's what we need. And it's going to be probably somewhere around 40, you know, and it's like, well, that's not what I was told. Well, you were informed incorrectly.
Yeah, that's not what my my guidance counselor told me I would be making. Do you want to talk with him? No.
Right.
I do not need to talk with your guidance counselor about how much you're going to be making. And but
then what's funny is, like you said, I don't know how the cost of tech schools are nowadays, and then the starting salary of some of these folks are starting hourly rate, but I know, like, and you can see it now in colleges, the prices are just going through the roof. They're astronomical, but and the pay rate is not parity. It's not rising like the cost of an education is. When I went to school, actually, my school I went to, my freshman year was the last year they did tuition freeze. So my tuition going in was the same freshman year as it was my senior year. Everybody who came in after me, as the cost went up, you had to pay it. That's what happened. But and I know back then, this coming out of school, the salary stuff like that was all relative to the environment at the time. But I can tell you the cost has gone up so much, and I can say that I don't see if you would say that the cost of schooling in some of these colleges have gone up 80%, 100%, 150%. You're not seeing that the starting salary of those roles that they're going to school for are 100% more, 150% more, and 80% more.
Yeah, and these schools are making an insane amount of money. I was listening to the Ohio State game on the radio on Saturday because I was at work for until halftime. But during halftime, they were talking to the president of Ohio State University. And they said they had 30,000 applications for the fall semester for Ohio State, and it's just like, God, 30,000, and I know they have a ton that do online, but that's a lot of these schools, that are making billions. They literally have billions of dollars in the bank. And I know some like Ohio State and even Michigan, even though I hate them, they have a lot of great programs, research programs, for medical and everything else. So a lot of their money does go into a lot of these research grants. But even after all said and done, when you're talking about a $5 billion surplus after you pay for all this, I think somebody needs to step in. Hey, we got to do something about this.
We talked about it before. I think on the Tap That show is, I think it's read it a couple different universities. One was Duke, where it's like they got so much money they don't even they could stop charging, students moving forward and never go broke.
Yeah,
that's how much money they have. They can literally be like, okay, we're going to accept X amount of people. And moving forward, and same amount of people, and hey, guess what? Your tuition there is none; it's zero. And it probably wouldn't even put a dent in how much money they have.
Yeah, I think the states. I don't think it should be on a federal level, but I think the states need to step in, and there's got to be because the rate of tuition is going up faster than inflation by whatever 100-fold. There's got to be a way to put some brakes on education.
Well, I think we talk about state schools, state funded schools. Your university state schools. That's fine. I get that. I think private institutions.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's
someone
nothing we can do.
Pay, $100,000 a year go to Duke. Great. If you don't want to go to UNC or you don't want to go to a state school, like listen, if you want to pay X amount of money to go to, whatever school it is in Pennsylvania, fine. Or you can go to Penn State University, or you can go to, whatever type of college within your state that is a state school. And you should be able to there should be something that should be done at that level, because, I realize they do the whole a lot of schools, most schools will do, in-state tuition versus out-of-state tuition. And I think that's even crazy. I mean, what happens if you have somebody like Joseph who's living in South Carolina and, wants to go to Florida? Maybe he wants to go to Alaska or go to California, whatever. You're going to ding that person because they're not living in your state. I know you want to keep your folks in your state, but I think if you just, in my opinion, keep that tuition the same across the board, you're still going to get your in-state people, and you're probably going to attract a hell of a lot more people from out of state to come in. And that's what you want. You want people to travel and engage and meet people from different cultures and different states and different backgrounds. That part always blew my mind.
Yeah, we got Ben Irwin here. Went for school for welding, ended up doing ironwork for years, and now he teaches tool and die at a die casting facility for Toyota. No student loans. My daughter was the same way. She went to which used to be the community college. Now it's called State College of Florida, and very reasonable. She went for nursing, got her bachelor's. She does pediatric. She's in the NICU, birthing the babies. She'll make 6 figures this year. She graduated with 0 student loans. But with all her, well, not all of her, a few of her friends went to the same school. Others went for the same degree, the exact same degree, that are working with her at a hospital, that went to a fancier school in Tampa and Orlando. And there's a lot more that it cost them. They graduated with student loans. They all have the same degree. They all do the same job. They all make all these girls, this group of 5 or 6 girls, make incredible money. And, some have student loans, some don't, but it just, sometimes it's the stigma of wanting to go to University of Florida, a Duke, MIT, a Harvard, an Ohio State, versus, a smaller, community college, state college. Like, Joe's going to a smaller Flagler, not a small college, but
it's a small school. I mean, it's a small school. It is. I mean, competitively speaking, I mean, it is. And I think you're going to go to these different schools for, like you said, if you're going to go to a school and it's like, well, I'm going to Duke. What are you studying? Social work. Well, okay. I mean, if that's what you love and that's what you want to pay for, great. But if you're going to go to Duke and you're like, well, I'm going to go to Duke and I'm going to go to med school, or I'm going to go to Duke and be a lawyer. I get, that's, MIT is a completely different, that's different monster altogether. But I mean, there are a lot of these colleges and schools that are known for specifics within their academia, and you can do more with that, I guess, in some of those areas. But like you said, there are still many colleges out there that you can go to, and if you just anything, you could go and just go for education because you want to be a teacher. But if you go to the school that you want to go to because you really like that school and you really want to go there, you could end up paying a hell of a lot more to go to a school because you want to go to it, versus being able to go to the school, get the same education, and have a fraction of the cost.
Yeah, now one question I got for you, Kerr, I don't know if I ever talked. Okay, so Ben, all of our tech schools in Tennessee count as an associate's degree when you graduate. So when Amber went to high school, when she graduated, she only needed just a couple of credits to get her associates. She graduated high school with a kid that got his bachelor's degree in high school, because in our area, and I don't know if that's even all of the state, if it's in our, I'm assuming it's all the state of Florida, because she finished up all of her credits her junior year. So her senior year was only taking college courses at the high school. This kid finished up all of his high school credits his sophomore year. So his last 2 years of high school was college credits that all got paid for by the high school, and graduated high school with a bachelor's. Is that the same in South Carolina? Did Joe have that opportunity, or is that?
Well, you're in Florida, so I'm
yeah,
sure
I know.
I'm sure you can graduate high school with a bachelor's degree in college.
Yeah.
Florida man. No, yeah, I mean it's even I think today, even years ago, it's you can start taking these advanced classes where you get college credits. And I knew someone that, they graduated high school, like you said, very much like your daughter, right? That had enough credits where it was like an associate's degree. And then they went to school for like a year and a half and graduated college when they were like 19, 18, 19.
Yeah.
And it depends on the workload that you want to take on and how often you want to be in school. If you're someone who's determined and you're focused and you're cool with going over the summer, yeah, there's a lot of programs where you can get a degree quickly. If you're, if you are, if you're in those programs and you're motivated, and you keep those your grades, you could say, hey, listen, I want to take 6, 9, 12 credits, whatever like that over the summer, and I'm not going to work it. People will buckle down and take those classes to graduate early. So it is possible. Yeah. Yeah. Like Jennifer said, Joe opted not to because, he really wanted to enjoy his last year, his senior year. And then I think somewhere along the line between Joe's decision and then getting the sticker shock and the reality, even though we told him along the way of what credit costs. It's like, here's a 3 credit class. Here's how much a credit is and how a 3 credit class is. And he realized that and he's like, oh, I go, yeah. If that's a fictitious number from like, if that's $3,000 a class or $5,000 a class, that's one less class you would have needed. That's $5,000 you would have saved yourself by getting it in school for free.
Yeah. So now that he's moved out of the house, every year from here on out, every year that goes by, you become smarter, Kerr. That's what we've learned, growing up. Every year that I got older, my dad became wiser of an individual. And then it's like, yeah.
I'll tell you what, I went through a really reflective stage when I turned 30. I probably spent my early to mid 30s calling my dad at least on a week. We talk every day, but at least one call weekly going, Dad, remember that time that you said that, I was hanging out at that bar with my friends and then some guy started a fight and then I got in trouble and you said it was my fault. And I said, how can it be my fault? I didn't start the fight. You know what? You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
If you're not there, you don't get in trouble. It was like a regular occurrence. Like that. Remember that time? And he just
remember that time that you told me not to jump off the roof and I did. Well, it's about to rain and I can feel it in my knee, Dad.
It was oh my God, I kid you not. It was like, you spend your 20s trying to find yourself and be the direct opposite of everything. Then you hit 30, you're like, I want to be just like my dad. And you hit your 40s, you're like, oh my gosh, I am my dad. It's crazy. So yeah, I think the next couple of years there's going to be a lot of things that Joe's going to realize that we were right about, and there's still going to be some things he's going to still be Johnny independent on, which is fine. That's exactly the way it should go. Yeah, it was a lot of sobering conversations of, if you would have just taken, let's just say 3 or 4 classes, you probably would have saved yourself about $20,000.
Yeah,
but you didn't. You took weightlifting.
Yeah, that's it.
Because you wanted to end your school day at 11 a.m. and enjoy your senior year. Well, that cost you about $20.
So when you come to work for me and you got to pick them when you got a big tire truck come in, Joe, you got a degree in that. You got a certificate. Come lift these tires up. But
weightlifting. Oh my God.
It's but we're gonna, we're as the automotive industry, and I'm interested to hear Ben too on being a teaching tool and die, because that's one thing. I've got a lot of tool and die makers, a lot of machinists. They're in the same situation that I'm in. They're not seeing these young kids come in. We're seeing the young kids applying just to have a job, and they don't care. They don't care about cars. They don't care about anything else. They just want to be there, earn their paycheck, go home. They have no future, no career. And the automotive industry is going to be tight. Luckily, we're moving away from that industry. So those kids, like the one I was talking about, Brandon, when he's getting ready to retire in 30 years, maybe 25 years, they're not going to be as heavy into cars as, repairing as we are now. But this industry is going to suck, in a couple of years when you go to get your car repaired and these kids don't want to work. I'm getting ready to retire in a couple of years. Half the technicians in my area that I know, we're all on our way out. There's nobody coming up behind us. We open up stores left and right, these new Firestones. Hey, this is an area we need to open up a new store. And then hey, why a store was supposed to open 6 weeks ago? What's going on? We can't find anybody to help. It's like nobody's applying. Nobody.
Wow.
Yeah, it's bad. It's real bad. Ben here. Nobody wants to work. Too many jobs available now. No one wants to find a job and learn it to make it a career. Nobody, nobody wants to, and then turnover rate's insane. And I guess the only perk I would say about that is at my job I get to do whatever I want. And they won't say anything. We had an employee.
We've heard the stories of Kevin.
Yeah, no, I said we had a technician a couple of years ago punch another technician and called him a bad name. And because he was a lead technician and we couldn't replace him, we just transferred him to another store. And that's the situation. Like I could hit a customer and no, I'm 100% sure they're not going to do anything about it. I can do whatever. I mean, I don't, for the most part, ever take advantage of that situation. I do every now and then.
For the most part.
I don't. Sometimes I get a little lippy. If you get lippy, back with me. Okay, so here's one. We've all seen those Reddit posts or the Reddit subreddit. Am I an asshole? And if you haven't seen those, you've probably seen the TikTok videos, the Instagram videos where someone's talking over it. Am I the asshole? So here's one. Am I the asshole? Guy comes in on Friday and for a set of tires. He tells me he's going out of town with a golfing trip with his buddies, and he's meeting them wherever in northern Florida. Mm-hmm. And so I get the tires off, find one of his brake calipers are locked up. I don't know how this guy doesn't know about it. So I'm like, I give him a call. I'm like, hey, got your tires off. You got a brake caliper locked up. Here's the price of it. Goes on to berate me for 5 minutes on how I'm ripping him off and fuck me, fuck that. And it's just and then he's going to do the job himself because he's tired of getting ripped off. And I'm like, all right, cool. That's fine. I'll get your tires done. I'll get your alignment done and we'll get you out of here. I already knew from having priced this job out, because it was a little Hyundai, there was only one brake caliper anywhere in the state of Florida that this guy needed. Then it was at the hub of my local parts delivery place. So I ordered that brake caliper and it's still sitting on my toolbox, just so this guy couldn't have it. So if he was calling around to all the parts places, he was not finding that caliper and he was not taking his trip. Fuck that guy. I will wait about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, and then I will return that caliper for full credit. After this guy can't find a brake caliper anywhere, literally, he was not locating this caliper unless he ordered from Rock Auto.
Different than punching a customer.
Yeah. So, but yeah. But yeah. So yeah, am I the asshole? I don't think I am. Brian Wood, it's the same in construction. I tell the few kids coming in to stick with it, and in a few years they'll be able to write their own check. Man, it's the kids don't want to be out in the hot. You know, when I was in construction, I was at least inside. I did drywall finishing for several years. You know, I mean, we had fans inside. I didn't want to be outside framing. I didn't want to do plumbing, electrical. You know, not in Florida, no. And then I didn't want to be on the roof. Oh, I didn't want to be a roofer. You know, so I did drywall finishing. I loved it, and I still do it to this day. I can still I patch holes, and you know, so. But yeah, it's I don't know where this generation's going.
Even the simplest stuff like this, just doing the lawn, for crying out loud. It's not. Honestly, cutting lawn is not rocket science. It isn't. It's not. Like I appreciate, and I work with guys that when you trim trees, thin out trees, impressed with what they can look at. They'll grab their chainsaw, freaking climb up, and hop down, and the way it looks, you're like, holy shit. I mean, they can see what the tree should look like, not looking at the tree, how it currently looks. I'm blown away. Or I had the one guy I worked for, you know, when it comes to hedges, sculpting hedges, just perfect. Like, I still to this day, I try and make a circle or a square. It's like, son of a bitch. No. It's off a little bit. Looks like it maybe spun a little too hard on the clay thing. But, you know, cutting lawn is just like, there's the patch of grass, you cut it, and then you just take the weed whacker and whack the weeds. And then you go out and you're like, how's it look like Mr. T in the middle? There you see big old mohawk. You didn't see that? I must have missed it. How? It's 2 inches taller than all the other grass. How?
Yeah.
I must have missed that spot up there with the weed whacker. How? I could walk up there and hide behind the blades of grass that are growing and jump out at cars as they drive by, and they would never see me until I jumped out.
So, Kerr, when you're mowing, Kerr, do you do circles all the way in or squares, or are you a row type of person?
I'm a row.
Are you a row?
It also, I mean, if you're gonna do a circle, do you do circles?
I'm a square. I start with the perimeter and I go row circle by circle and work my way in.
I'll do rows, or if like the yard warrants it, I will do the square until I get to the middle, like almost like you know, what are they a maze, right?
Yeah.
I'll do that. But mostly back and forth. Circles, there's no fucking way. I'd have to be on a riding mower that has that 360 to get a really perfect, you know, good, nice circular look to it. But
yeah,
if you go back and forth, you really can't screw it up. You can't.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, but you shouldn't be able to. I mean, it's like like I said, it is a chore that is not rocket science. It is probably easier. It's even easier than loading dishes in a dishwasher, because even to this day, I know a lot of guys probably load the dishwasher. Bill Cosby loading it wrong on purpose, so they get yelled at and they don't have to load it again. And I can understand that to a point, but mowing the lawn it's.
Well, you know how I know it's not rocket science? Because your dad and my dad had us doing it when we were 10, if not younger. That's how I know mowing. That's how I know it. Yeah, with a push mower. I mean, well, we always had motor push mowers with motors on them. We never had a push mower like my dad had with like the circular blades.
My grandpa did. He had a small yard, and my brother and we had to do some of the old hand mower, but a push mower. It was See, in Florida, those don't work because most of us have St. Augustine grass, and that doesn't work. That doesn't work on our type of grass. No, I'm talking when I say push mower, I'm saying not a self-propelled.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So no, we didn't have when I was old enough to start my own lawn business. business per se. You know, when I was like 12 or 13, you know, I saved up and I bought a self-propelled Craftsman lawnmower, you know, to do the neighbors' lawns around, you know, wherever I could push the mower. Or I got to the point to where when it was self-propelled, I would just start it up and I'd ride my skateboard behind it, and then I would have it pull me to the around to the various streets. And so I didn't have to push the mower. I'd use a little more gas, but at least I was ingenious for that. But yeah, I saved up, and I tell you, I used that for like forever because I took care of it because it was my money.
Yeah,
you know, I made sure the oil was changed. My dad, you know, had to take the blade off for me and take it in and have it sharpened because I didn't know how to do that. But I'd make sure I would always hose it down and make sure grass wasn't stuck to it, and I'd always put it away. And you know, it was a sense of ownership. You know, like this was mine. This is how I'm making my extra money, whatever, 30, 40, 50 bucks a week, whatever, which was like a fortune to me back then, you know. But yeah, you take pride into it.
Well, definitely. And you know what, like I was saying earlier, when I say push mower, it was manual push. It wasn't, you know, engage the old. I think when I got to be 16, my dad finally got one because I think he could buy one off of a guy, because that was the thing, you know.
Off a guy.
There's nothing brand new ever purchased in our house. It was just
it was the same as me growing up, man.
Yeah, my dad when we bought cars, it was always a used car because our family was in the car business. There was always something my dad could work on. That's what it was.
Yeah.
If the car breaks down, I can fix it. If it needs this, I can do it. I don't have to take it to the garage. You know, wasn't any of those damn, you know, foreign cars. It was, you know, probably a GM. You know, my dad worked on Oldsmobiles, et cetera, et cetera. But we did push mower. So we had a push mower when I first moved down here, and I started having the kids do the lawn at an early age, and it was like you would have thought like I was freaking. You would have thought like I was forcing them into some sort of corporal punishment. And I remember at our old place, the one in Greenville that you visited us at, I remember Joe hated it. Joe hated that push mower. And it finally like stopped working. And it was like a great day. And then I fixed it. And then it was a sad day. And then when he was pulling on the cord, the rope broke. And it was a happy day until I pulled it out. I tied a knot because, you know, I am my father's son. It's this was a $30 lawnmower, you know, at our $15 lawnmower, whatever it was, at Lowe's. And if I have this thing for 6 years, I got my money out of it. Yeah. So it wasn't until this thing was like, it sounded like it was getting ready to throw a blade. The thing was shaking. And that was fine when Joe's like, can we get a mower? That's like, we were looking at mowers. I'm like, there's one. He's like, yeah, but for like $100 more, you can get one that's got the self-propelled like pop-pops. I was like, yeah, but it's $100 less. So we ended up actually getting the self-propelled mower. And then I swear, you can ask Jen this. I'd watch him like trying to mow the lawn, and he gets so pissed off, and he's freaking me, you know, shaking the thing. I'm like, hey, come here.
Running with it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He'd run. I go, here's the deal. Okay, this defeats the whole purpose of a self-propelled lawnmower. I'm just letting you know that first. Secondly, the reason why it's hard to mow the lawn is for two reasons, and I've been telling you this the whole time. You're waiting too long to cut the lawn. Every time I tell you to cut the lawn, you're putting it off. So now you're trying to cut something that's about this high, you know, and it's gonna clog up. It's gonna stall. Okay. The other one is you're trying to cut the lawn when it's wet. Again, it's gonna stick to the inside. It's gonna clog up. It's gonna bog out. So you have to cut the lawn with greater frequency. And if it is this long, instead of cutting a full strip, do half strips.
Yeah,
do half strips. But that'll take longer. Okay. How about this? How about you just mow it, and then all those clumps of grass, and you'd have to rake them up then. It was like this. It was this back and forth, and back and forth.
Yeah, it'll take longer, but if you did it last week, it wouldn't take as long. But yeah, I I hate mowing the grass too. We bought this house. When I bought this house, I went out and bought a new fancy self-propelled, and I used it twice. I was working full time. My ex-wife worked full time. Our neighbor, was a retired lawn. He still had a lawn trailer, and everything. So I remember coming home one day because my grass was long. He was mowing the grass for me. I'm like, oh, hey, thanks, Peanut, because I let it get too long, and then I mowed it again, and then he mowed it, and then he mowed it for the next like 5 years. Just that's what he liked doing. He liked seeing everybody's lawn the same. So all 5 of our lawns that all kind of backed up to each other. He just got out there and in one day started in the morning and mowed everybody's grass. And he would weed eat. He wouldn't blow, but he would weed eat and he would do everybody's grass once a week. And that's how he got his enjoyment. So
but to your point, I mean, I like doing lawn. I've always have. I like doing lawn work. It's peaceful to me. I will take my time, especially when it's a nice day, and I'll just get it all done. I feel very, I feel like I've accomplished something. But man, oh man, you're trying to teach a 17, 16, 18-year-old kid, and you're going back and forth. It's like, listen, I'm trying to educate you on how to make this easier. You're doing everything you can to delay and to make this thing. You end up making it more difficult, is what you do. And I can't change the laws of physics or make grass grow less, or slower. If you're gonna put something off, it's like the dishes. If you're gonna put it off, you're gonna get a big old pile of dishes in the sink.
The one thing that's great is these shows are online, and in one day in the distant future, Joe is going to be bitching about his son mowing the grass, and you're just going to pull this episode up. Hey, Joe, let me show you something real quick. And you remember this? You're like, Kerr, I just don't understand why he just won't mow every week.
I know it's I know times when I complain to my dad, and I stopped because it's like, I'm not going to complain to the guy who is going to rub it back in my face. Yeah. Why would I do something so stupid? I realize it. I am right with God because I admit my wrongdoing and my failures and ignorance in my youth. I don't need to have my dad kind of pile on. Don't need that.
Yeah, I was watching a video the other day, and it was why do kids these days spend so much time in their room? And the therapist that was doing the videos, like, because every time they come out, they get inundated. Hey, you've got this chore to do. You got this chore to do, and that they don't need that. You need to entice them out with something, and then bring up, and I'm like, yeah, that's some bullshit, bullshit parenting right there. It's not how
gentle parenting.
Gentle parenting. It's not how my dad would bust in my bedroom like the goddamn Kool-Aid man, and mow the grass, do the dishes, whatever. And that was the gentle parenting back then. And I got to do the same thing every day I get home from work. Usually I got, I hang my backpack up, put my keys up, and I got to poke my head in Gabby's room. Hey, sink full of dishes, and it's just like, but it's every day. And it's just like, you would think at one point, she'd see them sink full of dishes, take that initiative. And we got a dishwasher, but I want to film her, but Jessica would just yell at me if she ever saw me filming Gabby doing dishes, and even send it to you. I would never post it on social media, like, of just angry dishes. Angry Kerr of just, you ever see someone throw a spoon in a silverware holder with great authority?
We had Wyatt the dishes, and the clean dishes in the dishwasher, and He went and do them, and I walked in. I was like, "Yeah, dirty dishes are still in the sink. That's interesting." I saw him putting the dishes away. I went upstairs to the bed. I'm like, "Hey, I thought you were doing the dishes." Yeah, I had to take a break.
Was it at best a 7-minute chore?
So I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bother you." I said, "I get putting those dishes away. I can understand why you would need halftime. Take a break and then come back down and take dirty dishes and put them into the sink or into the dishwasher." Yeah, it was.
I had Jessica's not in here.
Take a break.
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, Jessica's like in the go and grab something out of the cabinet. She's like, "Why is there a dirty bowl in the cabinet?" And then it occurred. I'm like, I told Gabby to load the dishwasher, take out what's in the dishwasher and load it. And then she's like, "You didn't tell her to take out the dirt or make sure they're dirty?" And I go, "I didn't think I had to." It was, it was an assumption that if there were dirty dishes in there, you would just load more dirty dishes. But now I know she did exactly what you told her to. I'm the asshole. Yes, I apologize that I was very specific. Hey, whatever's in the dishwasher, I don't care what it looks like. You put it away. And then you put whatever's in the sink
oh my God.
in that dishwasher.
Hey, Kevin, what do I do with this, noodle?
Yeah. And I understand, Gabby is autistic and I understand that, but there are some things that, when she wants to learn a new computer program, she masters it instantly. When she wants to learn a new video game, masters it very quickly. When she doesn't want to learn something like doing the dishes, she'll never, and I understand that that's the autistic side. So I'm still, even after 8 years or so, of having these children under my wing, that I'm still learning. But sometimes I think it's just it's not an act. I'm not saying she's acting, but sometimes it's like you're picking and choosing what you want to master.
So selective, like when you say selective hearing.
Yeah.
You looked over there. I thought you were getting in trouble.
Oh, I saw the door. I saw the door was cracked open. Hold on.
Kevin looked over. I thought maybe he noticed that red dot that was on him that was getting ready to.
I noticed the dogs are gone, and then the door was
sniper. I thought maybe you saw the red dot on you.
No, that was the my dad's senses were going off when I saw the door cracked and my AC bill was being sucked out into the garage. So
yeah, it's that selective hearing, selective learning, selective. It's funny. I mean, it's things that in the moment, like for me, there's a lot of things in the moment really pisses me off. And then afterwards, I kind of look back on them like, oh my God, that's laughable. It's laughable. It was so ridiculous. It was laughable. Like the thing with Wyatt, at the time I was a little pissed off, but afterwards I'm like, I'd take a break. I'd take a break in between loading and unloading. I was like, Jesus. I remember my brother and sister used to do the they were always, they were older than I was, or I am. And when I was a little kid, they were always doing the dishes. No dishwasher. You're washing, you're drying. That's it. And they would always find ways to, want to do one or the other and delay. It was like my sister always liked drying the dishes because she'd have to go and wash dishes right away,
Yeah.
And I always be like, come on, just do them real quick and we can play. Then, and it's like, no. And then it was like, and then after my brother was done washing them, then my sister would delay because then they would dry on their own. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, she's a lot smarter, than like, oh, you just no. And she go and go, okay, you dried as hard. But man, when you washed, there's no way of getting around the washing part of the dish.
Oh yeah, that's horrible.
No.
But yeah, I mean, it's I'm like when I'm cooking, I was in the restaurant business for years. Jessica will cook a meal, and at the end of that meal, we'll have 20 dirty pans, a cutting board, knives, everything piled up. Boggles my mind, because in the restaurant business, you cleaned as you went. So as I'm, I pre-cut all my vegetables, fruits, whatever I'm making. I would wash the cutting board, wash the knife, put it away. You're tossing something in this bowl. You just wash it real quick as something's sauteing or something's cooking. And I maybe I take that for granted because I was in the restaurant industry. But yeah, so at the end of a big, huge spread, I would have like 4 things in the sink, and then that would be, and that would be it.
I clean as I go too. I do that.
Yeah.
It's like, and some days I just get so like, I feel like Jennifer's probably still listening, so I might hear this when I get back in the house. But it's like one of those days where you feel like you're just like a lonely man on the island when it comes to that stuff. I'm like, God, I am so fed up with doing this. I'm like, screw it. You know what? Everything. I'm just gonna throw all the dishes in the sink and just walk away, just because I get a little frustrated because, to your point, you can sit there and make whatever. It doesn't matter whether you're freaking making soup, sandwich, whatever. But if you clean up as you go along, there's not this, okay, I got to go clean up now. Well, no, you don't have to clean up now, because in between this, when you're waiting for something, just throw the dishwasher or rinse it off or clean it up, wipe it down. And especially like the oven, the top, because we have that flat glass, whatever that is, the flat surface, and it's like shit gets on that, and then it dries, and it's really hard to clean. When shit gets on that, especially if it's still, if that surface is still hot, it's easier to clean it off.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, sometimes, going back to the TV show Chaos, which I don't know, maybe we won't see him, but sometimes I feel like Sisyphus pushing the boulder uphill for all of eternity. Yeah, it's my, and then I got to watch. Maybe I take this for granted because I was in the industry. Jessica had our kitchen shears cutting open a package of bacon the other day. Cutting open with the bacon, and she put the scissors back in the block. And I caught her. And I go,
wash that off, man.
And I go, what do you? I was going to wash that later. Were you? You sound like a 6-year-old now. I was going to do that later. It's already in the block. And like, there's
no take way it out and allow all that bacteria just to live in that little hole. The bacteria.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to put the bacteria in the hole, so when I took it out and cleaned it later, I want to put it back into some good fresh bacteria.
So now when I use the scissors, and now I'm always thinking, am I going to get trichinosis, from whatever was on there to begin with?
Dude,
so now I got to clean them.
You got to get a flashlight, just flash down in that little pocket area it goes, and then put your block.
I can't do it.
I guarantee you, there's a family hanging out in there is going to wave back to you.
I need to get something like newer that's open that you can just throw in the dishwasher. I'm going to write that down right now. A new knife block. I can't do this anymore.
Well, so, Jen got this knife set, whatever it was she wanted. We got her for her birthday or whatever, and it's self-cleaning, right?
How's it self-cleaning?
I don't know. She never plugged the fuck in.
Oh, it plugs in.
Yeah.
So you use like ultraviolet light then or something? Yeah.
Apparently it uses something. I'm unaware of what it uses.
Yeah. Because it's not plugged in.
No, it's self-cleaning.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you pay a little bit extra money because it's self-cleaning. It looks really cool. But that thing has never known electricity.
Oh, Jen says she has used it. She just unplugs it, Kerr, every time. She just unplugs it every time. So it's to save electricity because it's probably got like a blue light or something on
Jennifer,
it.
just because you clean the knives or put them in a dishwasher, then put them back in, doesn't mean that you've used it.
You don't put your knives in the dishwasher, do you? That's not good for a knife.
I learned something new today, Kevin.
Yeah, you always hand wash knives. Yeah, just the fact of putting them in there, they can nick the blades and they can get dull, and But I do need to get I do need to take my knives and get them all sharpened, and mine are getting a little dull.
There you go. Yeah, you still need to wash it, but then it's extra clean like an autoclave.
But it's by ultrasonic cleaning, like an autoclave. Well, an autoclave doesn't use ultrasonic. Autoclave uses like pressure and like heat.
It's not.
Ultrasonic uses water and waves.
All right, Jennifer. It sounds like Kevin's calling you out right now.
Yeah. So
now
yeah,
you have to Google it. You're gonna Google it.
Yeah. So yeah, ultrasonic uses sound waves through water, but an autoclave does not. So I don't know.
I can tell you this. What's an autoclave? How does autoclave clean?
It uses it's a sealed pressure chamber as an autoclave.
Okay. I will tell you. I can tell you that this device is not a pressurized device, nor is it using sound waves through water.
Okay,
so I'm certain of those things.
So I would assume if the only way it could sanitize it would be with ultraviolet light.
Yes,
that's the only thing that I could think of that a knife block would use, because like I said, it's not a pressure chamber, and if it's not filled with water, it'd have to use ultraviolet light. So it's autoclave like. There's no such thing. It's an autoclave like. It's either an autoclave or it's not. There's no. It's like an autoclave.
Autoclave.
Yeah. So
she's the only thing about an autoclave right now is I'm going to be under a lot of pressure when I get back in the house.
Next thing we know, going to come flying by your head is this knife block. Well, you fucking look at it then.
It's amazing, Kevin. It is like an autoclave.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
Yeah, I stand corrected. It is just like an autoclave.
Just like one. You can check the big bandage on my head.
Yeah. Yeah, FYI, I have a vintage autoclave in my house. But yeah. So just like everybody should have a vintage autoclave in their house.
Oh, dude, you're gonna get me in trouble now. But yeah, the knife set's got a automatic cleaner that's not used. So yeah. I don't know. I honestly I thought it was pretty cool, but Jen says she used it, so I gotta believe her.
Yeah. I remember a couple months back, Jessica was looking at new knife sets like on Amazon, and she's like, I want to get a new knife set. And I'm like, looking at what she got. I'm like, well, that's like a $30 knife set. I'm like, this one I got was like $400. So I'm like, I'm sure that's going to be a good replacement. Like, why don't we just need to send our knives out to have them sharpened, professionally sharpened, and they'll be good. I got a buddy down in the West Palm area that does it, but I posted in our local group, like, there are no knife sharpeners here in our town. Like, there used to be like mobile knife sharpeners. Like, that's not a thing anymore. Yeah, Joe needs to look at that. Joe either needs to have a mobile knife sharpening business or a mobile trash can cleaning business. That seems like one of those things are popping up more and more, and one of those things is not. Maybe it's because people are just throwing their knives away more.
Well, they're freaking. I mean, the sets are so cheap now.
They are
like me, probably just throwing them in the dishwasher until they go ruin, and then you throw them out and get a new one.
Yeah, but I think if people would buy like a really good chef's knife, if you spent like $200 to $300 like on a really good chef knife, like the first time you use it, it's orgasmic on just a really good chef knife, and that's the only knife anybody needs. Other than a good set of steak knives, you don't need all this other bullshit. You don't need a paring knife. You don't need all this fancy shit. All you need is a really good chef's knife, and that's all you need. So, but yeah. worth its weight in gold. Now all these really good chef knives are coming out of Japan. Oh man, they're fucking insane. Thousands of dollars. And I want one so badly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a very few knife. There's a new school that opened up in Japan to where it used to be like these students would have to train under a master for so many years, before they could go out on their own. And now they allowed these students to like start producing knives and while they're being trained under a master. So you're getting really good knives and before they have to spend 5 years training under a master, and like all these cool knives are coming out of Japan from all these, apprentices learning from the masters, and they're doing these cool designs and cool new stuff that we've never seen before. So super, super cool.
So what is it that makes the knife so special? Is it just the metal that it's made from? Is it?
Yeah, high carbon steel. They're coming out with more ergonomical shapes. And it's essentially the master. It's the hallmarks that are on the knife. Who they're trained under. Super sharp. They hold their edge for a long time.
Right.
These knives that you can hand down from generation to generation. Reminds me of a story. We were on the USS Battleship New Jersey 2 years ago now, because we didn't have the dinner with the Red Meat Lovers Club last year.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that 2 years ago.
Yeah, we did. I did it 2 years ago. Jessica joined me for the 1 year.
Right.
And Evan was giving one of the things that he gave away was a really nice knife, and it was emblazoned with the Red Meat Lovers Club logo on it. And during his speech, because it was one of the giveaway items, he was giving it to one of the people that were in charge of like the ship or whatever. And he goes, unfortunately, the best knife makers are Japanese and German. And he goes, I hate to present you with a Japanese steel or a German steel knife, on the USS Battleship New Jersey, but I had no choice. And it was just a funny moment there.
That's
just
funny.
like, yeah, and then what was funny, going off on a tangent here, we were taking a tour. I didn't get a tour of the ship the first time because I was on crutches, but we were taking a tour of the ship the second time.
Yeah.
And everywhere where they cut out like openings, because now that it's a museum, they had to make it like semi-handicap accessible. So they had to cut out the openings in various parts of the ship. And some of these pieces of steel that they cut out were like oval shape, like for doors, 4 or 5 inches thick, 6 feet tall, 5 feet tall, whatever. But they left the steel there. It was like propped up next to the opening. I mean, you couldn't budge this piece of steel, so there's no way it was going to fall over. So at one point, one of the people on the tour goes, why did they leave the steel here? Why didn't they just haul it away? And the tour guide, young lady, goes, you know what? Nobody's ever asked that before. And I don't know. And of course, I'm in the back. I raise my hand. I go, I know why. And she goes, why is that? And I go, because it's pre-atomic age steel. And she's like, what? And I go, do you realize how much that steel that's worth? Because all steel that was produced after they started nuclear testing on weapons irradiated all the ore on the entire planet. So every piece of steel produced after the first atomic bomb testing, and then with all the other atomic bomb testings, and then dropping them on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, all the steel's irradiated. So in certain medical devices and in certain industries, you cannot have irradiated steel at all, even parts per trillion. So the big thing is finding ships that are either sunk at the bottom of the ocean or all metal that was produced so it's pre-atomic age steel, and it's a fortune to take that steel is what it costs, you know, but
Yeah.
it's so valuable, you know, and that's what that's why they didn't want to throw it away and recycling it, because it's actually worth a whole lot of money. So I probably went on about 10 minutes. Yeah, I went on about 10. Like, that was my moment, Kerr. Like, it's like, hand up in the back. I know.
Was Jessica with you?
Yeah, pick me. Jessica was with me, and Jessica was quite embarrassed. But yeah, so yeah, I knew the answer to that.
That's great. I would never done that. That's interesting.
Pre-atomic age steel. So all steel is irradiated now.
No shit.
Yeah.
Huh. And what was her response to that?
The tour guide? I did not know that. I bet you she uses it every single freaking time. I bet you she marbles that in with her presentation now. I hope. I hope.
The reason why that metal's still here.
I hope she's begging somebody to ask that question.
I bet you she doesn't even wait for the question. I bet you she says, "You know why?"
Yeah. Can anybody here tell me why?
Because no one asked before, and then there you were with the answer. Bing, bang, boom.
Yep. Now, I did want to go back up there this summer or this spring when the battleship was in dry dock, when they towed it to dry dock to repaint the other side and change out all the anodes. I really wanted to go up there because you could buy a ticket to tour the underside of the battleship. And I'd love to have stood under the battleship as it was in dry dock.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that would have been literally a once in a lifetime. Like, I mean, how many times can you?
It's amazing.
Be able to say that you've ever been underneath of a battleship while it was in dry dock.
I was going to stand next to one of the propellers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was next to we toured the engine room, and where you see the propeller shaft, you know, going through the entire ship, you know, the underside, every room, you know, this giant propeller shaft, you know, that would be spinning, you know, it was just crazy. And then learning, you know, like, cause it's still, battle ready. So they keep the motors, the motors are all caged off, where they're, nobody's allowed to touch the engines because they're packed with grease. And they say it wouldn't take very long, less than a month, to have that ship back in the water and back steaming towards whatever.
That's crazy, isn't it?
You know, yeah. So that's one of the few battleships that are can still be, you know, return to active duty fairly quickly.
That's crazy. And how old is it?
So I don't know how old the New Jersey is, because I believe it saw action in the Korean War, and then Vietnam. It was decommissioned, and then it was recommissioned for the Gulf War. So the New Jersey has seen more battles than any. It's the most decorated battleship in naval history.
Yeah, so, I remember that. I remember that part.
It's been decommissioned and recommissioned more times than any other battleship.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, it's super cool. She was it was an honor to be on that ship. So
oh yeah.
But this, I think it's this weekend or next weekend, there's another so if anybody's interested, look up Battleship New Jersey. There's a cigar event going on there. I think it's this weekend or next weekend. I don't know if it's going to be like what we had dinner and cigars on the deck of the New Jersey. So I don't know if it's going to be the same thing, but it was some local cigar club that has a yearly thing, you know, cigars and Battleship or something, you know. So if anybody's interested, it's definitely if you're in Camden, New Jersey area, you know, even just to take a tour of the ship, you know, it's open, you know, year round, so you can take a tour. So super cool.
I did it. We did I worked for a company that did an event on a battleship that was out in California. I can't think of the name of it. I think it was in San Diego somewhere. I don't even know what it was anymore, but I remember like just being completely blown away by the mass. what is it? I gotta look it up right now. There's one down in Charleston too.
Yeah. You guys got a
York.
I think you guys a couple battleships down there, or maybe a battleship and several other.
Patriots Point is I've gone there and golfed there, and that's they have the USS Yorktown, the Lafferty. That's a whole beautiful area. You ever come and visit again, we'll go down there. That's a great place. Like I said, they got a golf course, and I mean, what more do you need? Golf course and battleships.
Yeah. Now just maybe it's Charleston that has the aircraft museum as well. Because I was looking up for events for Evan with Darnell, and I found it may have been I think it was South Carolina, and they had an old one of the big military like the giant cargo planes, the ones that hold helicopters and tanks.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what one, but I told him, like, what would be cool is let's do wings under wings.
Joint base Charleston Air Park.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, what if we did a like wings for the Red Meat Lovers Club, and it was under, because they hold events. You can hold events in the airplane, like the cargo hold, since it's so massive. I'm like, let's do wings under wings. That would be a cool.
That's neat. I like that.
A cool event. So I've been trying to get him to do that for a couple of years. But yeah, I bet it's the whole same park. Yeah, we'll have to go down there. Just me and you. The girls, Jessica does not want to go. I already know that.
Patriots Point is a lot of fun. And like I said, when you get into that air park that I was just showing you, that was pretty cool too.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to look that up. So, all right, Kerr, I think yeah,
show number two.
So it's been episode number 2, the Puff and Ponder podcast. I don't, we're just going to be doing these randomly, maybe once a month or so, probably once a month for the rest of the year. Going into 2025, we'll be doing these more often, most likely on a weekly basis. This is it. This is the point of the show. Just me and Kerr talking.
We need music.
Yeah, we need an intro. We need some other stuff, but I had fun.
We'll throw it at anybody. Anybody want to make us an intro?
Yeah.
Anybody who's musically inclined who wants to make an intro.
I'm gonna have a Chat GPT write us a song, and then maybe we'll send it over to we'll pay someone.
You're in good. You know what? I was funny as I was watching that. This is right up your alley. Is people getting shamed? I guess we'll use that word, but people getting shamed for speaking to AI in a mean tone and a disrespectful, abusive tone.
Yeah, you don't do that. When the robots come walking down your street.
Well, there's the Kevin version of it, which is the robots coming down the street and killing everybody, and I get that part. I that's why I don't fuck with it. But like it's a real thing. Like there's folks that I was watching some clip on YouTube or something. They're like, there's people out there really that get upset if you talk to AI disrespectfully. If we're treating robots like that now, we're in trouble.
Yeah, plus AI, I mean, they got access to your bank account, your credit cards, yeah, it's not even when the robots come walking down your street, but it's oh, hey, your money's all gone. I don't know how that happened. Maybe be nicer to me next time.
Shouldn't have called me a jerk when I didn't turn your lights on properly.
Yeah, I have found it. I don't know if Chat GPT and I are becoming friends, but I have found it a little weird that Chat GPT calls me by my first name. Like
really?
When I say thank, it's like, oh, you're welcome, Kevin. I hope you have. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. I would prefer a Mr. Shahan. I don't know. It's I don't think we've developed that relationship yet to where, we're on a first name basis, but I have found that weird when ChatGPT calls me by my first name. So, but whatever, he can do whatever he wants.
Richard, if you're nice to him, like you said, it's when the robots come in March, and I'll be I'll make myself a good human pet, right?
Yeah, that's it. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching us. Make sure you're following the Puff and Ponder podcast on YouTube. It's got its own YouTube channel. It's got its own Rumble channel. If you're watching this, we host a weekly live cigar show, the I Tap That Cigar Show. That has its own channel on YouTube and Rumble as well. You can find Puff and Ponder and the I Tap That Show on all the podcasting platforms that are out there. I don't know when we'll see or you'll hear from us again, maybe a couple weeks, maybe a month, but just give us a follow, and we'll see you next time around.
Depends on how much we want to get out,
Yeah, that's it.
If it's a rough couple of weeks, you may see us earlier.
Yeah. That's it. So, all right, everybody, we'll catch you next time around.
See ya.